So my teacher told me gratefulness has to start with our family. That wasn't easy for me because as a young child, I always felt like my parents didn't really understand me. They didn't give me the love and care that I was hoping for and expecting. Particularly, one person was hard for me to show gratefulness to was my father, because he left home at a very early age, and that did leave behind a lot of trauma for the whole family. I still remember for a long time, I told myself, if one day my father would pass away, I wouldn't want to go to his funeral. He seems more like a biological father to me. He never really took up the responsibility to take care of the family. Then there was one turning point that I was taking a psychology class, and I was asked to visualize my parents standing in front of me. I don't know why. Some reason, my father was the first person popping up. And because I haven't seen him for 20 plus years, that was a really fuzzy image. Then I was asked to walk towards my father. I already felt that there was a sense of rejection in my heart. So I still did so. I stood in front of my father. I was visualizing this in my mind. And I was asked to look into his heart and see the scars there. That was a surprising moment for me because I never thought that there would be scars on his heart. I was aware that I have a lot of scars on my heart because of what he has done to the family, but I would say that might be the only single time in my life that I tried to think and feel from his perspective. What I saw was a heart that was pale, dull, weak, full of scars, deep scars. I couldn't explain this rationally, but that time, my tears just fell off from my eyes, and for the very first time, I felt this man. I felt this man. I always focus on one thing is we lost our father. But now from this man's perspective, he lost his whole family. It wasn't easy for him as well. So after the experience, I told myself I have to meet him again. The other day, I called my cousin. I tried to get his phone number. I called him up. He already moved to mainland China. And I said, I want to meet you. He said yes right away. So the other week, I find myself in mainland China. That was a very magical moment because for 20 plus years, I never met him. I think I could barely recognize him, to be honest. But when I first saw him, he felt more like an uncle to me. But that was very warm, a very warm feeling. And we started to have conversations. Surprisingly, we got along together pretty well. I was asking about his past. I learned much more, and now I'm seeing more of the story, a more complete picture. So then we actually built pretty good rapport, and we would meet each other in every few months. So then it came to a defining moment. There was one day, my dad came over to Hong Kong. So we had a casual dinner. It was about 9 o'clock. My dad said, it's getting late. Maybe I need to go home because he lives in mainland China. Then before he left, he suddenly just sat there and seemed quiet. He suddenly held my hand. And I saw his eyes turning red. There were tears coming out from this big man. Then with a shaky voice, he told me, son, you don't need to be so good to me. I don't deserve this. At that time, tears just came out from my eyes as well. And the first thing I did is I just leaned forward and I gave him a hug. So that might be the first time I gave him a hug since I was 4. At that very single moment, I felt like I was finally a grown-up because I could stop becoming a victim and I could take ownership to try to lead my parents and try to ease some of the pain that they have gone through. The key lesson that I learned is at times we might be complaining that what our parents gave us was not enough. But now I know whatever that they gave us is all that they had. We wanted more love. We wanted more care. But that's exactly what they lacked as well, and their childhood would only be tougher than ours. So that was a great realization for me. And after that, I was also able to show more gratefulness towards my mother, which it's hard to imagine what kind of struggle that she has gone through just raising us 3 kids as a single mom. Then I started to talk with her more and learn more about her background. So through that process, I was able to connect with my parents again as a child. And I feel like when I connect with my parents again, a big part of myself came back. My emotion came back. And literally, now, I could feel my mom and dad standing next to me. And I'm so grateful that I can become the person I am today because of them